Someone check if it is online, please. All right, I see it. Huh? All right. Sorry about that interruption. So sorry. You know that that makes a big deal because it was only 11 minutes. Oh man, this is spoiled. All right, and I didn't even record it. I didn't even record it to say I can get. I'm so sorry about that. I don't know, but let me see. Let me just continue. They say no use crying over spilt milk. Huh? Huh? Yeah, I'm coming. This is mine of the audio. All right, sorry about that. Again, technical difficulties beyond our control. All right, mute that, please, George. Yeah, I hear. Oh, it's yours. Oh, this is this. All right, it's still going. I don't know where it's coming from. Where were we again? Oh, okay. I'm trying to find. Sin reigned. Yes, thanks. So sin reigned. Yeah. Yeah. So it's brought us out of darkness into this marvelous light. All right. So the Most High chose a people of the line of Seth to. Check. 1, 2. I don't know. All right. That should do it. Yeah. Yeah. So the Most High chose a people of the lineage of Seth because Seth was the son of Adam, who was the son of the Most High. Seth was made in the image of Adam, who was made in the image of the Most High. So the Most High chose a people of the lineage of Seth to walk in his light. Still going. Check. Mic check. 1, 2. All right. All right. Can zoom. I don't know. See if we can deal with it in the meantime, because the show has to go on, as the people in the world say. The teaching has to go on. Exodus 10:21 to 23. So he chose a people to walk in his light. And let's see the manifestation of this. Exodus 10:21 to 23. Exodus 10:21 to 23.
And Yahuwah said unto Moses, Stretch out thine hand towards heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt. And Moses stretched forth his hand towards heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days. But all the children of Yasharal had light in their dwellings.
All the children of Yasharal had light in their dwellings. I don't understand. So the children of Yasharal had light in their dwellings. Let me put this over my head so I don't hear it. Yeah, the children of Yasharal had light in their dwellings, and the Egyptians were left in darkness. So we see it's a similitude that happens in the world. He chose a royal priesthood to walk in his light, and the rest of the world in darkness. But through his mercies, he has allowed the people from other nations to also walk in his light if they choose to follow after his light. All right, so sorry about all of these problems. Exodus 14:19-20, showing that he chose a people to walk in his light.
And the angel of Eluah, which went before the camp of Yasharal, removed and went behind them. And the pillar of the cloud went from before their face and stood behind them. And it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Yasharal. And it was a cloud and darkness to them, but it gave light by night to these, so that the one came not near the other all the night.
The one did not come near the other all the night. So if you turn it down too much, Zoom people. Oh, yeah, you can turn on the Zoom on that. Yeah. So he gave light to his people, and to the rest they were left in darkness. So in order to keep or bring his people into the light, after that happened, he gave them the law as a light to reconcile them back unto him. Proverbs 6:20-24. Proverbs 6.
My son, keep thy father's commandment, and forsake not the law of thy mother. Bind them continually upon thine heart, and tie them about thy neck. When thou goest, it shall lead thee. When thou sleepest, it shall keep thee. And when thou awakest, it shall talk with thee. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life, to keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman.
All right. So the law is light. The law is that light that shines into the darkness. So the world was plunged. Very hard to concentrate with that thing echoing in my back of my mind. But I will try. So you got it? Good. Yeah. So the world being plunged into darkness, the Most High gave his law, his instructions, his directions as a light to shine into the darkness of this world. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instructions are the way of life. So the reproofs of the instructions that come from the law lead us back into life itself. And it says in verse 24, to keep thee from the evil woman. And we know the woman there is referring to a religious order. From the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman, from being lured away by false religion. Because we know that those who follow the law through Yahusha Mashiach are followers of the way of the Father and are not easily led away by religions, by evil women. So, as Adam's descendants and of the seed, the chosen seed, righteous seed, we have to find our way back to the tree of life. we have to find our way back to the tree of life. Daniel 12, verse 1.
And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt.
So he was telling Daniel what is to take place upon the earth in these end times. Now, people, we are in those end times. We are in these times where a time of trouble is coming upon us, and we see the foundation that is being laid for this time of trouble. We see the passport that they are organizing. We see the digital currencies that they are organizing. We see the mark that they have given. We see everything being laid out. We see the wars that are being set up and nations being set up against nations, all sorts of things. As they say, the perfect storm is being set up in this world. So when you see these things, it says, and at that time, Michael, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, the children of Yasharal, shall stand up. So this is a time, if any, that we need to be reconciled back to the Most High. This, the time of trouble is coming upon us, and Hamashiach warned us that we should take care that we are not led away astray by surfeiting, by drunkenness, and by the cares of this life, so that that day comes upon us unawares. This is a time when we need to be reconciled back unto the Most High. Verse 3.
And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever.
So we see those that are wise shall shine brightly as the brightness of the firmament, to show you it's the difference between light and darkness. So wisdom, and we are talking not about the wisdom of the world, but wisdom, spiritual wisdom, being led and filled and led by Ruach HaKadosh, that will make us shine out of the darkness. And how do we get that wisdom? It is through the law, the light that he gave us, and the light that shines on the law, Yahusha HaMashiach. So we have two different aspects to it. That's why Shaul says the law was our schoolmaster to bring us unto HaMashiach. Both of those lights shining together will enhance us and make us shine as bright as the stars forever. Verse 4.
But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased.
Knowledge shall be increased, and we are in the time of the internet, when knowledge has increased exponentially, and we have been given access to all different types of books and all different secrets. Many of us didn't know that there were so many books that were there that we did not have access to. When I was a Christian, I only thought it was just the 66 books. I thought this was a perfect book. What a book. Yes, nothing wrong with the book. But they omitted things that were in it and things that should have been in it. All right? So that is the time of the end. And that is why in the time of the end now we have access to all of these books so that we can help one another, edify one another, and we can wake up from the deception that they had us under. Remember, to get back to the state of Adam, we have to be light, pure light, walking in the light of the Father. So, as Adam's descendants, we have to find our way back to the tree of life. Now, to do so, we have to find the light of life. Remember, Yahuwah is light, but there's also another light we're going to look at as well. We have to find the light, and we're going to see what happens when we find the light and the error most of us are making as believers. We come to the light and then we remain unlit. We remain stagnant. And why do we remain stagnant? Because we love the world. And the love of the world keeps us in darkness, because the world is a world of darkness. The earth has been given into the hand of the wicked, and there is no light in the wicked. But how do we find this light? How do we find this life, rather? No, I'm skipping a thing. I thought I had finished this. So we have to find the light of life. Job 33, 22 to 30. What did I say? Job 33, 23?
33, 22.
Oh. Hold on, please. 23 to 30. Go ahead, please.
If there be a messenger with him, an interpreter, one among 1,000 to show unto man his uprightness, then he is gracious unto him and said, deliver him from going down to the pit. I have found a ransom.
Well, it's so surprising how the book of Job was written so long ago, and how these things point to Hamashiach. If there be a messenger with him, an interpreter, one among 1,000 to show unto man his uprightness, then he is gracious unto him and say, deliver him from going down to the pit. I have found a ransom. So because we are sentenced, because of the sin of Adam, and sin has reigned from Adam on us, if we continue in the similitude of the sinfulness, then we will be going down to the pit. The Most High sent a ransom. I have found a ransom. Verse 25.
His flesh shall be fresher than a child's. He shall return to the days of his youth. He shall pray unto a lure, and he will be favorable unto him. And he shall see his face with joy, for he will render unto man his righteousness.
He will render unto man his righteousness. Continue.
He looketh upon men, and if any say, I have sinned and perverted that which was right, and it profited me not, he will deliver his soul from going into the pit, and his life
shall see the light. His life shall see the light. So if we confess our sins, there's a verse that said, if we confess our sins, he's just and to deliver us, or something. This is it, right here. He will deliver his soul from going into the pit, and when we are delivered, our life shall see the light. And when our life is in the light, that means our life is compatible, on par, reconciled unto Yahuwah. 29.
Lo, all these things worketh a lure oftentimes with man, to bring back his soul from the pit, to be enlightened with the light of the living.
Light of the living. So the Most High has done this several times. Remember, it says he sent judges unto the people whenever they went astray, and he afflicted them back in the days. He would send judges unto them to help to save them. Now, he sent the final one, Yahusha HaMashiach, for us. Okay? And he says to bring back his soul from the pit, from the grave, because we are sentenced to a life to the grave, to be enlightened with the light of the living. The light of the living. Light, life. We're going to look more at the parallel between both as we go. So how do we find this life? By walking in Yahuwah's light. In the book of Isaiah, he had prophesied, Isaiah 51 verses 4 and 5, of this coming light, of the people.
Hearken unto me, my people, and give ear unto me, O my nation. For a law shall proceed from me, and I will make my judgment to rest for a light of the people. So
here he speaks about a law shall proceed from me. Now this was Isaiah. This was after the law was given. What he's speaking about, Isaiah 42:21, tells you about the magnified law. Yahuwah is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. He shall magnify the law and make it honorable. So this is what Isaiah was prophesying to the time of Messiah, when he would magnify the law. Verse 5.
My righteousness is near. My salvation is gone forth, and mine arms shall judge the people. The isles shall wait upon me, and on mine arm shall they trust.
All right. So let's go to John 8:12.
Then spake Yahusha again, saying unto them, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life.
So there we go. In Isaiah 51:4, it was prophesied that he will rest for a light of the people. John 8:12, Yahusha is telling you about that light. I am the light of the world. So what do we have here? We have Adam, the son of Alua, who transgressed. Now we have the Hamashiach, the son of Alua, who walked perfectly before Yahuwah, showing the light to the world, showing himself as the light to the world, that we should go to that light. We should go to that light, and by going to the light, we too will be redeemed and brought back, reconciled back unto the Most High through Yahusha HaMashiach. Matthew 4, verses 12 to 15. This is a prophecy that was fulfilled. This was in I think in Isaiah 9, I think. Prophecy manifested here in the New Testament. Matthew 4, 12 to 15.
Now when Yahusha had heard that Yahuchanan was cast into prison, he departed unto Galilee. And leaving Nazareth, he came and dwelt in Capernaum, which is upon the sea coast, in the borders of Zebulun and Naphtali, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, The land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, by the way of the sea beyond Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles.
Okay, I think I cut off one there. Let me go to it. I think I left out the one that said, the people who dwelt in darkness have seen a great light. That's, yeah, Matthew 4.
16, the next one.
You got read it, please.
The people which sat in darkness saw great light, and to them which sat in the region and shadow of death, light is sprung up.
So this is important. It's a light, light, light. We are in darkness. The world is in darkness. We have to be walking in light. So that light is in Yahusha HaMashiach. Verse 17.
From that time, Yahusha began to preach and to say, Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
So the gospel, the good news of the kingdom is directly related to light. Because if we are not in the light, we cannot see the kingdom. So following the gospel of the kingdom will lead us into the light. Let's go to 2 Corinthians 4. Let me get 2 Corinthians 4, verse 3 to 4. Hold on, please. I'm not there. The gospel directly related to light. 2 Corinthians 4, 3.
But if our message be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the magnificent gospel message of Hamashiach, who is the image of Alua, should shine unto them.
All right, so this light is directly related to the good news. Directly related to the good news. So if the good news, the gospel is hidden from us, we cannot understand the good news, the gospel, then it means that Satan, the God of this world, has blinded our minds. And we see this happening in religion because the gospel, the good news, is hidden from those who are in religion. If you ask them what the good news is, or you speak their language and say, what is the gospel? They will tell you about Luke 4, about 17, about they will tell you part of Isaiah. If you ask them about the rest of it, the part of Isaiah that will tell you is like Luke 4:17. Let me go there. They will tell you this part. Read, please.
And there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah. And when he had opened the book, he found the place where it was written, The Ruach of Yahuwah is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach the good news to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised, to preach the acceptable year of Yahuwah.
20.
And he closed the book, and he gave it again to the minister, and sat down. And the eyes of all them that were in the synagogue were fastened on him.
If you notice, they stopped here to preach the acceptable year of Yahuwah. Because Hamashiach says this is fulfilled in this day is the scripture fulfilled in your ears. This scripture. So this scripture was part of the gospel. It was not the entirety of the gospel. But Satan has blinded the eyes of those in religion to let them believe that this is the entirety of the gospel. So to find out the entirety of the gospel, you have to go to the law and to the testimony. If they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. So because they reject the law and the testimony, they are in darkness. There is no light in them. They are in darkness, so Satan has blinded their eyes from the true gospel. So when you go to Isaiah 61, remember I stopped at the acceptable year of Yahuwah. Read Isaiah 61 verse 1, please.
The Ruach of Yahuwah is upon me, because Yahuwah hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of Yahuwah.
Stop there. This is where Satan has blinded their eyes to stop. To proclaim the acceptable year of Yahuwah. And that's it. What about the rest of the gospel? What about the rest of the good news? Here it is. On the day of
vengeance.
Those who are in religion, the Christians, will not speak about the day of vengeance in the gospel, to comfort all that mourn, to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy. None of these they don't preach or teach as the gospel. So if they taught this, they would get an understanding of what it truly means that the children of Yasharal will be relieved by the Gentiles, their oppressors, being punished and being brought under their subjection. When you come tell them that, they say, no, that's not the gospel. All you need to know is Christ and Him crucified. That's the gospel. That's not it. You can go and read the rest of Isaiah 61 verse 3. Read it please, George, for edification of those who might be Christian or might be new to what we're saying. Read it from 3 onwards.
To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the ruach of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of Yahuwah, that He might be magnified.
So the Christian good news is them being taken away into heaven. But because Satan has blinded their eyes, they don't know the true good news. Because verse 4 tells us this. This is not understood by those in the religious circles, Christian circles rather. Go ahead.
And they shall build the old wastes. They shall raise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the waste cities, the desolations of many generations.
And the precept for this is, of course, Amos 9, 11 to 12. And we won't go there, but just bear in mind for those who want to research to get confirmation. Verse 5.
And strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the alien shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers.
There's no way this is taught in Christianity. Satan, the God of this world, has blinded their eyes because they follow the religion of the world. If you follow the religion of the world, you are going to be blinded. Verse 6.
But ye shall be named the priests of Yahuwah. Men shall call you the ministers of our Yahuwah. Ye shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, and in their splendor shall ye boast yourselves.
Continue.
For your shame ye shall have double, and for confusion they shall rejoice in their portion. Therefore in their land they shall possess the double. Everlasting joy shall be unto them. For I, Yahuwah, love judgment. I hate robbery for burnt offering. and I will direct their work in truth, and I will make an everlasting covenant with them.
So this is for those who are walking in light. This is what will be their reward. Children, this will be their reward. Okay? Right. So we find this life by walking in his light. So we're speaking about the connection between the light and the kingdom. Matthew 4:16-17. Oh yeah, we did this already. The people who sat in darkness saw a great light. Yeah. So we must walk in his light or we will remain in darkness. John 11 verses 9-10.
Yahusha answered, Are there not 12 hours in the day? If any man walk in the day, he stumbleth not, because he seeth the light of this world. But if a man walk in the night, he stumbleth, because there is no light in him.
All right, so this is figuratively speaking that if you walk in the light, if you're walking in the light, if you're walking in truth, in righteousness, you will see the light of this world. You will see the light of this world. Again, we go to religion. When you are in religion, you cannot see the light of this world because you are in darkness. That is why Christianity worships JC, the false Messiah. The Messiah behind whom they will say the law is done away with. They cannot see the true Messiah because they are walking in darkness. It says, if a man walk in the night, he stumbleth, because there is no light in him. And where did we hear about no light in him? To the law and to the testimony. If they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in him. So rejecting the law means that you cannot see the light. And if you cannot see the light, you cannot see the light of this world. You will speak of him and think you have him, think you are walking with him, only to hear in the end, depart from me, I never knew you, ye workers of iniquity. So while we have the light, we have to walk in the light. Listen, this is for all of us. We come to Yahusha, those of us who follow the way, and we say we have the light. While you have the light, walk in the light. Because many of us say we have the light, and at times we go off. We are not steadfast, and we are not walking in the light. Many believers will tell you, well, I'm not where I should be. I'm not where. We cannot say that. We should not be saying that. We should not be named among us. While we have the light, we should be walking in the light. John 12:35.
Then Yahusha said unto them, Yet a little while is the light with you.
Hold up. Yet a little while is the light with you. What is that saying spiritually? Light is not going to be with you all the time. As believers, we think we have all the time in the world, and we do things and we go off and we try to come back and we are good, hot this time and cold. What did Hamashiach say about hot and cold? You're hot. You're lukewarm. You better you're hot or you're cold. But today you're hot and you're cold. Tomorrow you're lukewarm. In between. Every day we're just moving from place to place. It says, yet a little while is the light with you. Continue.
Walk while ye have the light, lest darkness come upon you.
You hear that? Walk while ye have the light. And I'm saying this to people, especially those who are out there in the midst of Babylon, who are being led into the way of truth and are seated there, continuing their lives, continuing their ways of life, not following the true light, not following the way of truth, not following the instructions, the calling of the Most High. It says, walk while ye have the light, lest darkness come upon you. And Luke 21:34-36, Hamashiach says, be careful, lest like a snare it shall come upon all them that dwell upon the face of the earth. Continue.
For he that walketh in darkness knoweth not whither he goeth.
All right. So the light will be with us for a little while. We must walk while we have the light, because the Most High will take the light away from us and we don't even know. Remember, a strong delusion. He will allow Satan to blind our eyes, and we'll be walking, thinking we are walking in righteousness. Satan is a sly old fox, you know that. Yes. We will be thinking that we are walking in righteousness and be blinded because we had the light and we did not make use of the light. So we must walk as children of light. Ephesians 5, verse 5 to 10.
For this ye know, that no whoremonger, nor unclean person, nor covetous man who is an idolater, hath any inheritance in the kingdom of Hamashiach and of Yahuwah. Mm-hmm. Let no man deceive you with vain words, for because of these things cometh the wrath of Yahuwah upon the children of disobedience. Be not ye therefore partakers with them, for ye were sometimes darkness, but now are ye light in Yahuwah. Walk as children of
light. No. Huh? Yeah. Walk as children of light. Now it says, no whoremonger, nor unclean person, nor covetous man who is an idolater hath any inheritance in the kingdom of Hamashiach and of Yahuwah. Now when I hear these things, I cringe because I don't want to be in this band here. Verse 6, let no man deceive you with vain words, for because of these things cometh the wrath of Yahuwah upon the children of disobedience. Be not ye therefore partakers with them, for ye were sometimes darkness, but now are ye light in Yahuwah. Walk as children of light. So we are taken out of sin, out of darkness, brought into the light. We must walk in the light. We cannot be walking in the darkness. Yes? Verse 9.
For the fruit of the Ruach is in all goodness and righteousness and truth, proving what is acceptable unto Yahuwah.
All right? So that is what we need to do, prove what is acceptable to Yahuwah. Now we're speaking the people out there. You are given the light. You are seeing the light. Are you walking in the light? Because we're going to see at the end, what it actually means to be walking in the light. And we're going to show that most of us are actually simply just in religion. Sad to say, we are in religion. We are not walking as we are truly called to walk, honestly. And it is almost impossible to do so in Babylon. That's why you hear us almost every time we speak, we are calling people out. Why? Not because we want company or we need help, but because we have proven for ourselves that it's almost impossible to be righteous where you are. And if it's almost impossible to be righteous in Babylon, how can you be saved? We have to love people and be passionate for people and want us and them to be saved. Okay? All right. So how do we walk in this light? We must bear his image. All of these words are connected. Light, life, image, darkness, all of these. So to walk in his light, we must bear his image. 1 Corinthians 15, 45 to 49. 1 Corinthians 15, 45 to 49. But let me just say, before we go on, that when you listen to us, the words are hard, and I know the words are hard, but it is because that I have seen something that many people have not seen. The word is opening to us here, and we are seeing that the true good news, the true word of the Most High is hard. When you come to serve the Most High, you have to be ready for a hard word. Because we were radically in Babylon, in the heart of Babylon, in the midst of all uncleanness. And each one of us in our minds and our hearts will not think of us as being unclean. But those who have been brought out, and been made to see in their uncleanness, and then looking at the people in the world and say, whoa, look at them too. They are where I was. And they don't know. So that is why we bring the word, and the word might seem hard, but it is what it is. Without this hard word, there can be no salvation, because this is a word of truth. This is what our calling is really about. It is not a calling to sit and hear the words and we just change and do a few good deeds and all of that. It requires everything out of us. It requires a total transformation in us. Giving up everything. Everything. 1 Corinthians 15:45.
And so it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening ruach.
So the last Adam, a quickening ruach. Yahusha Hamashiach. Living ruach. Verse 46.
Howbeit, that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural, and afterward that which is spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
The first man is of the earth, earthy. The second man is Yahuwah from heaven.
The master from heaven.
The master from heaven.
Mm-hmm.
As is the earthy, such are they also that are earthy. And as is the heavenly, such are they also that are heavenly.
Mm-hmm.
And as we have borne the image of the earthy, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly.
So when we are brought out and walking in the light, then we will bear the image of Yahusha Mashiach. But we are earthy from the earth, and therefore we have to be transformed from being earthy, which is why we have John 3:3. If any man is not what? Born again. Born from being what? Earthy, and being transformed to being heavenly. So to bear his image, we must walk in his likeness. We must walk in his likeness. And here is the dividing line now. All of us say we come to serve Yahuwah. We want to walk in Yahusha. Very few people really teach and preach Yahusha consistently to walk like him, to be like him. Because to do that means your whole life in this world has to be given up. But there's no other way. What did he say? I am what? The way. That's what we are seeing. That's what I am seeing. There is no other way. He says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh to the Father but by me. What does that mean? We have to walk in his likeness. We have to be little Yahushas all over. Otherwise, we are still going to be in darkness. We cannot be in light, and therefore we cannot be reconciled truly unto Yahuwah. 1 John 2:4-6.
He that saith, I know him, and keepeth not his commandments is a liar, and the truth is not in him. But whoso keepeth his word, in him verily is the love of Yahuwah perfected. Hereby know we that we are in him. He that said he abideth in him ought himself also so to walk, even as he walked.
That's it. So if we say we know him, we must keep his commandments. If we don't keep his commandments, then we are liars. So if we say we abide in him, and he said we must abide in him, or else we will be like trash ready to be burned, and that is John 15:4-6. We must abide in him, but he says if we abide in him, we must walk as he walked. Now people, those who are there in Babylon, you tell me now, how can you walk like Yahusha in Babylon? How can you walk like Yahusha? Getting up, doing your 9 to 5, going and working in your office or whatever, wherever you work. And how can you walk as Yahusha walked there? Romans 8:29.
For whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren.
So we are to be conformed to the image of his son. What does that mean? To be conformed to his image. To his what? His likeness. To his likeness. So the Most High predestinated us to be conformed to the likeness of his son, that his son might be the firstborn among many brethren. Those of us who are like him will be his brethren. So it goes back now to conforming to the image of the son of Alua, so that we too can be the image of Yahuwah. But guess what? As most of us know, bearing his likeness is not easy. Bearing his likeness is not easy. Hebrews 12, verse 7. Bearing his likeness is hard. Read it, please.
If ye endure chastening, Alua dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not?
Now, this verse is very powerful to what we're talking about. Remember, we said we are speaking about being reconciled to Alua. When you are reconciled unto Alua, then you will be adopted. You will be brought back to him as a son. But it's giving you the condition here to be a son. It says, if you endure chastening, Alua dealeth with you as with sons. If you endure chastenings, you see how hard it is now? To be a son, you have to endure chastening. And verse 8 takes it a step further. Go ahead.
But if ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then are ye bastards and not sons.
You see? If we are not chastised, then we are bastards and not sons. So it goes back now to bearing the image of Alua, of Yahusha, because Yahusha went through, I don't even know if we call it chastisement to the nth degree. We have to be like him. So, if we want to be bastards, well, we will avoid chastisement and we will not go through chastisement. 1 Peter 2, we use this almost every time we speak. Verse 19.
For this is thankworthy, if a man for conscience toward Alua endure grief, suffering wrongfully. For what splendour is it, if when ye be buffeted for your faults, ye shall take it patiently? But if, when ye do well and suffer for it, ye take it patiently, this is acceptable with Alua.
All right. So this even matches up with that verse from Clement this morning. If when you do well and suffer for it, you take it patiently, this is acceptable with Alua. Why so many of us believers, if someone steps on our corn, you hear how much venom comes out of our mouth? If our brother and sister does us something wrong, how much venom, hey. Huh? Yeah. Yes. So what we are saying is you have to be willing to suffer and take the suffering patiently, because that is acceptable with Alua. We are showing the hallmark here of a true believer, true end-time believer who will be reconciled unto Alua. Remember, the question is, are you reconciled? So take these things that we're saying and judge for yourselves if you are reconciled unto Alua. Verse 21.
But even hereunto were ye called, because Hamashiach also suffered for us, leaving us an example that you should follow his steps.
Here's the thing. Leaving us an example that you should follow his steps. Our call is to follow Yahusha. The early disciples, if you look at some of the books, there are some books that we don't even use because some of the things in there, if you don't understand, you will be polluted into thinking and might be mixed up. but there are some things that they're writing there, and you get an image, an impression of how the early first century believers were. Their whole life was chasing after Yahusha to be like him, to suffer. They actually put themselves in the way to suffer. I was reading one who was writing to an assembly and saying that he's ready to be offered up and he wants to be killed. And he said to them, please do not pray for me that I be not killed. He was actually telling the people, leave me alone, because you might stop me or prevent me from attaining unto Yahusha. That is the zeal. That is what our calling is about. Be willing to suffer and die for righteousness' sake. Read 21 again, going on.
For even hereunto were ye called, because Hamashiach also suffered for us, leaving us an example, that ye should follow his steps, who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth, who, when he was reviled, reviled not again. When he suffered, he threatened not, but committed himself to him that judgeth righteously.
Continue.
Who his own self bare our sins in his own body on the tree, that we, being dead to sins, should live unto righteousness, by whose stripes ye were healed. For ye were as sheep going astray, but are now returned unto the shepherd and bishop of your souls.
All right, so here it is. He did no sin. And I don't know if any one of us can say this, because the word says, if you say you have no sin, you are a liar. So Hamashiach did no sin, neither was guile in his mouth, no trickery, no conniving mouth did he have. Who, when he was reviled not again. So he didn't, when people reviled him, he took it. He did not revile in return. When he suffered, he threatened not, but committed himself to him that judgeth righteously. So everything, Father, you deal with this. I will bear the suffering for Hamashiach's sake, to be like Hamashiach, but you take everything. Who his own self bare our sins in his own body on the tree, that we, being dead to sins, should live unto righteousness, by whose stripes we are healed. So we were as sheep going astray, but now are returned unto the shepherd and bishop of our souls, through Hamashiach, through emulating him and following him. Philippians 3:7.
But what things were
Hold on,
gained?
you're gone too fast. Philippians 3:7. Go ahead.
But what things were gained to me, those I counted loss for Hamashiach.
This is the attitude of the first century believers. They were willing to give up every single thing to be like him, because they were so confident in the resurrection of the dead, so confident in eternal life, and knowing that eternal life is through Yahusha HaMashiach, that they must be like him, must attain unto him. They were willing to give up everything. So my point, the point that comes to mind is for those people who are out there remaining in Babylon, finding all sorts of excuses. Now you see the people in this world, because this is also for us, of course, but this comes to mind. And this has been coming to mind. When I see and I hear all these things that are happening in the world, you see passport coming out. I saw a thing where 130 countries have signed up to the new BRICS currency. And if you understand what BRICS is, you know that they are building the new world order on BRICS. Even with Russia out front, that matches up with the Gog and Magog, even though Gog and Magog prophecy appears to be also after the 1,000 year. But it's really funny that Russia now is out front leading the charge with their building blocks, with their bricks that they are using to build the new world order. When you hear about the LBG, QTR, STU, VWX, LBCD, EFG, when you hear all of those numbers and what they are doing, and they're adding numbers to them, different letters to them, and yeah, I'm saying, what are the believers doing? Do you have an exit plan? What is your exit plan? Do you intend to sit and stay in Babylon? Or are you willing to be like this? What things were gained to me, those I counted loss for Hamashiach. Because most people are there still in Babylon, continuing their lives, working, continuing up and down, doing their own things that they used to do, their own pleasure, shopping, everything. How can you be a true believer and you're not willing to count everything lost for Hamashiach? This teaching is a challenge, people. We're not putting down anyone, not condemning anyone. What we're doing is trying to challenge your ruach to think as to the times that we are in and what we need to do at this time. Read from 7 into 8, please.
But what things were gained to me, those I counted loss for Hamashiach. Yea, doubtless, and I count all things but loss for the excellency of the knowledge of Hamashiach Yahusha, my Master, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I may win Hamashiach.
Whoa, continue.
And be found in him, not having my own righteousness, which is of the law, but that which is through the faith of Hamashiach, the righteousness which is of Allure by faith.
And here it goes now. Faith. This is why so many people have not moved. This is why so many people are still deeply rooted in Babylon, thinking they can follow the way and live their lives in, what should I say? In the ways of this world. Yes? Not having mine own righteousness, which is of the law. So we go and we hear, oh, the law says this, the law says that. We try to obey the law. But where is the emunah? It is faith. And this is why they did what they did. Because they did it through faith. The true faith is being willing to be like Hamashiach and being willing to throw away everything else to attain unto being like Hamashiach. That's the true faith. Verse 10.
That I may know him and the power of his resurrection, and the fellowship of his sufferings, being made conformable unto his death.
All right. That I may know him, the power of his resurrection, and the fellowship of his suffering. This suffering is what most of us do not want to go through. It's a human nature. We do not want to go through the suffering, so we always want assurances. Even when they speak about fleeing out of the midst of Babylon, there are people who want to relocate. That's what they think. They want to avoid the suffering, so they want to ensure that they are in comfortable circumstances. True faith. Some people might say there's nothing wrong with relocation, but true faith is being willing to move. If the Most High relocates you, well, that's good. But true faith is not calculating every single step of your move. True faith is just moving, and then the Most High will move with you. If he brings you to a nice, comfortable place, well, that's good. But you moved by faith. But it's no sense you making every calculations and there 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, 8, 9, 10 months, making your calculations and making sure that you dot every I and cross every T. That is not emunah. That is not faith. Verse 11.
If by any means I might attain unto the resurrection of the dead.
So we see the most important thing for them is resurrection of the dead. To be assured. This is like their insurance. To be, and you know, when you pay insurance and you pay out of your salary monthly, and then at a certain time the policy matures and then you get what you more than what you put in. This is the same thing. This is their insurance on death. So they're willing to throw away their lives, just as when you're paying insurance and you have some insurances that, insurance policies that you put in like, say, a 10,000 over time, and they invest your money and you might end up with $500,000 when they finish, or just giving an example of a multiplication factor. It is the same thing. They are willing to give up on their lives now for the splendor of the promise that is to come, that is in Yahusha HaMashiach. People, that is where we need to be. Set your affection on things above, not on things of this world. So you ignore what is in this world through fire, problem, pressure, trial, tribulation, affliction, abuse, rejection, every single thing you go through, because you know that is your insurance for the time to come. 1 Peter 4:1. So we're looking at the fact that it's not an easy road. And most of us were taught, especially like in Christianity, that it's easy. 1 Peter 4:1.
For as much then as Hamashiach has suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind. For he that has suffered in the flesh hath ceased from sin. So
if the sin is without suffering, the flesh will continue to sin. It is the suffering that assures us, that presses down, keeps down our flesh to assure us and ensure that we do not sin. So that is why we have to follow after Hamashiach. Perfection is in following him. Verse 2.
That he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lusts of men, but to the will of Yahusha.
So when we suffer, yes, we will spend our time doing the will of Yahusha, not in the lust of the flesh. So a flesh that is left unperturbed, untroubled, that flesh is going to no doubt sin. And if we sin, we remain in what? Darkness. And if we remain in darkness, we cannot come to the light. And if we cannot come to the light, we cannot be reconciled unto Yahusha. If we are not reconciled unto Yahusha, we cannot be his son. If we are not his son, we cannot enter into his kingdom. 1 Peter 5:10. Not an easy road. Read it, please.
But the Yahusha of all favor, who hath called us unto his eternal splendor by Hamashiach Yahusha, after that ye have suffered a while, make you perfect, establish, strengthen, settle you. So perfection comes after suffering a while. We have to suffer a while. We cannot escape suffering and be perfected. After ye have suffered a while, make you perfect, establish, strengthen, settle you. That is the process. So we're speaking about it not being an easy road. The books of the Nazarene, chapter 7, page 73. All right, a lot of you know this by heart. Page 73, verse what I said again? 27? Yeah. Verse 25, is it?
Let me get back to it. Chapter 7, page 73. Oh, I didn't put it. Let me see if I can find where I wanted it. Verse 25 to 26.
I have not come to bring peace, but to put a sword in the hands of men, setting sons against their fathers and daughters against their mothers. For nothing is worthy if a man will not fight for it.
Nothing is worthy if a man will not fight for it. So just think about us going through our routines, saying that we are believers, and just sitting, going through routines, not willing to fight for our salvation, not willing to bear the image of Yahusha. Continue.
For nothing is worthy if a man will not fight for it. Anyone following me will find enemies among his own kindred. And though he love his parents above all else, I will give him a cause which is greater. My burden is not light, and must be shouldered with fortitude and courage. Those finding it too heavy must go elsewhere.
All right, so if you truly follow Yahusha, you will find enemies among your own kindred. That has been, especially for those who follow the call to flee out of Babylon. And those who are truly followers of the way, we can attest to this. He says, my burden is not light and must be shouldered with fortitude, strength, and courage. Those finding it too heavy must go elsewhere. So if we cannot bear his burden, if we cannot attain unto him, if we cannot truly follow him, he says, go elsewhere, you're wasting your time. Wow. Verse 26.
The man who seeks to preserve his life through cowardice will be deprived of its benefits, and he who is prepared to make sacrifices for the cause of man will surely gain the crown of life. Whoever receives a good and just man openly, giving him his due, shall in turn be given the reward of his merit. But those who expect to receive rewards bestowable only by one greater than a prophet will be disappointed.
So if you seek to preserve your life through cowardice, will be deprived of its benefits. Where does cowardice come in what we're speaking? We're speaking about being bold and following after Yahusha. To suffer as Yahusha suffered. To be reviled and not revile again. To suffer and not seek to be recompensed for your suffering, etc., etc. So the true people of the Most High, in the end, how do you know that you are a son of Alua? How do you know that you are reconciled unto Alua? We are touching down in the last part now. How do we know that we are reconciled unto Alua? Let's go back to Adam. Let's go to the book. Adam, chapter 4, page 4. That's the one we started with. Hold on, please. Let me get it. Chapter 4, page 4. Chapter 4, page 4. Read. Where should we read now? All right, read chapter 4, verse 1.
But Adam and Eve cried for having come out of the garden, their first home. And indeed, when Adam looked at his flesh that was altered, he cried bitterly, he and Eve, over what they had done. And they walked and went gently down into the cave of treasures.
All right, so they came out of their first home and they cried. We're going to hear what they think about this world. Verse 3.
And as they came to it, Adam cried over himself and said to Eve, look at this cave that is to be our prison in this world and a place of punishment. What is it compared with the garden? What is it?
What is its narrowness?
What is its narrowness compared with the space of the other?
So this world, to them, was something to weep about, to be in this world. But because we don't know any other world, we think this world is so exalted. But they know the difference. So it is us now through Emunah to know that that which we are searching after, this that we have is nothing compared to it. If we think along that line, then we will be focusing not on this world, but on that which we cannot see. Because the things that are seen are temporal, but the things that are not seen are eternal. So we will focus on eternal things. Continue.
What is this rock by the side of those groves? What is the gloom of this cavern compared with the light of the garden? What is this overhanging ledge of rock to shelter us compared with the mercy of Yahuwah that overshadowed us? What is the soil of this cave compared to the garden land? This earth strewed with stones, and that planted with delicious fruit trees. And Adam said to Eve, Look at your eyes and at mine, which before beheld angels praising in heaven, and they too without ceasing. But now we do not see as we did. Our eyes have become flesh. They cannot see like they used to see before.
All right, so this is the importance of being born again. When you are born again, then you will be able to see spiritually. Let me tell you something, people, about this. Eyes have become flesh. They cannot see like they used to see before. We are given the Ruach to guide us. We are like blind men. Blind men groping in the dark. But the Most High says, all right, in this world, your eyes are flesh. You are going to be blinded. I'm going to send you help. I'm going to send you a guide. You know, like when you have the dogs that they train to lead blind people, that is how the Ruach leads us. So when we are in the Ruach, we are going to see things, unfortunately, we are going to see things that some people are not going to see because our guide will guide us. Not everyone is going to be guided equally. Because some people will quench the Ruach, some people will blaspheme the Ruach, some people will be focused on their material things, some people will be focused on their lusts and their desires, some people will be overly focused on their children, some will be focused on this, The person who will be able to see and be guided is the person who follows after Yahusha. The person who gives up everything for the sake of Yahusha HaMashiach. That person will be able to see more than the other persons. And the other persons who are not seeing will think that will be seeing things differently from that person. So, look at your eyes and at mine, which before beheld angels praising in Shamaim, and they too without ceasing. So, they now see natural things and they cannot see in the spiritual. Verse 10.
Adam said again to Eve, "What is our body today compared to what it was in the former days when we lived in the garden?" After this, Adam did not want to enter the cave under the overhanging rock, nor would he ever want to enter it.
So he knew that he had a body, but remember, he did not know that he was naked. You see the difference? He was so spiritual. He didn't even know or care that he was naked. Now, even today, it's the same thing. When people are spiritual, like for example, we go out on the road, our eyes are going to be dull to a lot of the nakedness that is out there. Yeah. But people who are not deeply spiritual will be easily perturbed by the nakedness that they see. Just like Adam and Eve that didn't even know nor care about their nakedness, the people who are in righteousness will not be so easily perturbed by nakedness. But it says Adam did not want to enter it, but he bowed to the Most High's orders and said to himself, "Unless I enter the cave, I shall be again a transgressor." And of course, this again is for us. The Most High has commandments, which we might not agree or we might not, what should I say, like? But we have to bow to his commandments. The Christians out there, for example, says, remember the Shabbat day to keep it set apart. Now their church says, no Shabbat, keep the Sunday. 1 John 3:4 says, he that committed sin transgresseth also the law, for sin is a transgression of the law. They do not care about that. So even though we do not want to keep his command, we have to bow to his orders so we are not transgressors. Because if we are transgressors, what are we walking in? In the light? In darkness. And we cannot be his sons if we are walking in darkness. So, we just showed that Adam hated this world. let's also show that the true disciples will also hate this world. This is how you know, people, when you are reconciled unto the Most High. If you love this world, then you're not truly reconciled unto the Most High. If you love this world, you are not truly reconciled unto the Most High. Because we're going to show how even the disciples believed and taught, how they totally rejected this world. And that is when you know you are back out of this world. Because Adam was placed in this world, but we are in this world, but not of this world. So we are trapped here physically, but we cannot be of this world, or else we will be walking in darkness. 1 John 2:15-17.
Love not the world.
Hold on, please. You're going too fast. 1 John 2:15-17. Go ahead.
Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him.
If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. So remember, Yahuwah was in Yahusha, reconciling the world unto himself. Now when we receive the Ruach, it is Yahusha in us, and it is the Father in us. Now it says, if any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. That means his Ruach will not be in us if we love the world. Verse 16.
For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world.
So how can the Father be in us? How can we be reconciled back to the Father if we are walking in the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life? It says it is not of the Father. So many of us as believers, people, many of us are believers. This teaching is not to condemn anyone, but to make us take introspection. Okay? Make us take introspection. All that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. And for the people out there who are hearing the call to flee out of the midst of Babylon, and you are there rooted in the world, you might say you do not love the world. But what does it say? By their what, George? You shall know them? By their fruits. It is what we do that makes people know us. All right? Verse 17.
And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of Yahuwah abideth forever.
All right. 2 Timothy 4:10. 2 Timothy 4:10. True believers will not love this world. Start from 9.
Do thy diligence to come shortly unto me, for Demas hath forsaken me, having loved this present world, and is departed unto Thessalonica, Crescens to Galatia, Titus unto Dalmatia.
So if you love this present world, then you cannot do the things that you would. Shaul spoke about it in Romans 7. You cannot do the things that you would if you are led by your sinful nature. So Demas forsook Paul, Shaul, because he loved this present world. Let's go again. Titus 2:12. To show us that the true saints, they knew that their call was not to love this present world. Titus 2, what did I say?
12.
12. Hold on. Go ahead.
Teaching us that
No. 11.
for the favour of Yahuwah that bringeth salvation has appeared to all men, teaching us that, denying unholiness and worldly lusts, we should live soberly, righteously, and godly in this present world.
All right? So denying unholiness and worldly lusts. Worldly lust there is the lust in this world. We should live soberly, that is with self-control, righteously with righteousness, and holy in this present world. So the true call is not the way that most of us actually do live today. Romans 2:12.
12:2.
Romans 12:2. Thanks. Go ahead.
And be not conformed to this world.
And be not what?
Conformed to this world.
Yes.
But be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yahusha.
So if you are not conformed to this world, your mind must be transformed away from this world, away from the programming of this world. That's why I say the people who are out there, listen to what we are saying. If we have this world, to be conformed to this world means to fit into the system and be partakers in the system. We see all that is happening and all the prophecies that are being fulfilled, and the Most High told us to come out of her, my people. It says that your mind must be renewed to be transformed away from conformation to this world. Because that is the way you will be able to prove what is the good and acceptable and perfect will of Yahusha. In other words, you will not be able to prove what is good and acceptable and perfect will of Yahusha unless your mind is transformed away from conformation to this world. Hence, our lives must be a continual sacrifice unto Yahusha. No, I don't think this is the right one. I think it's at the wrong place. Anyway, it fits right in, but I don't think it was supposed to be there. Read it, please. Romans 12, verse 1. Sorry.
I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Yahusha, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto Yahusha, which is your reasonable service.
All right. So a living sacrifice. And I don't believe I put it here, but it fits perfectly. It fits perfectly in. Yeah? Having your mind renewed, you have to offer yourself up as a sacrifice. This is the truth of the scripture. Yes? It's no walk in the park. It's not a easy thing. It is actually destroying this body in order that the Ruach can rise above it and live above it. All right? So a living sacrifice. And the sacrifice comes from H2077, Zebach, properly a slaughter. By implication, a sacrifice, the victim or the act is the flesh of, that is the flesh of an animal. So we have to present our bodies for slaughter continuously. All right? So I think we have one last thing here to say. I was reading the other day, the letters of Ignatius. Now there are some of these books that are lost that we don't even recommend to people because they might confuse us, because some of them I believe that they translated them for the sake of their religion. And even when I was reading this book, I see them writing their opinions in brackets. So I say, take this with a grain of salt. But everybody has their story, and the Most High will send His word, even with a drunken man, even with a homeless. I don't know if any of you have seen videos with homeless people they put online, TikTok, etc., saying a word of wisdom, and everybody have it circulating it. Viewership in the tens of thousands because that person has said something wise. So some of these books, we read them and we get the wisdom out of them, but there are some things in them that I would not recommend. All right, so here is one of them, Letters of Ignatius to Polycarp, chapter 1, verse 14.
It is the part of a brave combatant to be wounded and yet overcome. But but especially we ought to endure all things for Alua's sake, that he may bear with us.
All right? So a brave combatant must be willing to be wounded and yet overcome. So it is a battle that you go through. Most of us in religion, we continue our lives in Babylon, and there is no real battle. There is no real wounding. Yes? What we think is our battles and what we think are wounding is nothing. But he says, but especially we ought to endure all things for the Most High's sake, knowing that that which we are enduring is actually perfecting us, that he may bear with us. What does this mean? That is his will that we endure all these problems and these wars and these fights. Yes, it is his will. Now, in this letter of Ignatius to the Magnesians, chapter 2, verse 3, it tells us, this verse is very serious. It tells us, all right, let's see what it tells us. Verse 3, several things.
The unbelievers are of this world, but the faithful, through love, have the character of Alua, the Father, by Yahusha HaMashiach, by whom, if we are not readily disposed to die after the likeness of his passion, his life is not in us.
Now, this is how we want to conclude, people. This is the true belief of the end time saints. That's why Shaul says he was willing to call everything dung. It's the same thing. It says the unbelievers are of this world. But we, the true believers, are not of this world. Hamashiach declared it. Hamashiach said, my kingdom is not of this world. If it was of this world, then my followers would fight. My kingdom is not of this world. The unbelievers are of this world, but the faithful, through love, have the character of Alua the Father through Yahusha HaMashiach, by or through. This is how you know you are reconciled unto Alua. His Ruach is in us, the same Ruach of Yahusha that is changing us and has transformed us into his likeness. And so we will have the love of the Father, the tolerance, the forbearance, the patience. We will have the love, the long-suffering, all of those traits of the Father we will have. We will have his character. So many of us believe that we are believers, and many of us, we will rebuke and reprove others. And this is how it is. When you move along the line, sometimes you think, well, I have no right to reprove people. I don't even have right to correct people. When you see your flaws come up. Many of us love to correct. All right? We love to correct and rebuke and reprove others. Okay? But do we have the character of Alua the Father? Do we have the fruit of the Ruach? Love, joy, shalom, patience, gentleness, goodness, emunah, they call faith, meekness, self-control. Do we exercise all of these things? Because only these things are really important. Me going out to reprove and rebuke people, that person might end up moving to a higher level than I, and I am there, stuck at my level, in the end being a castaway. We have to strive after righteousness. We must have the character of Alua the Father by Yahusha HaMashiach, by whom, if we are not readily disposed to die after the likeness of his passion, his life is not in us. This is how you know you are reconciled unto Alua. This is how you know. You have a readiness to die after his passion, and you have taken on the character of the Father, walking in the fruit of the Ruach. And this is confirmed in Romans 8, verse 9. Read it, please.
But ye are not in the flesh, but in the Ruach. If so be that the Ruach of Alua dwell in you. Now if any man have not the Ruach of HaMashiach, he is none of his.
If any man have not the Ruach of HaMashiach, he is none of his. In other words, If you are not readily disposed to die after the likeness of his passion, his life is not in you. His life is not in us. And guess what conquers all? The unbelievers are of this world, but the faithful, through love, have the character of the Father. Look at love now in 1 John 2:10, which should be the last one we're doing this. 1 John 2:10, look at the love.
He that loveth his brother abideth in the light, and there is none occasion of stumbling in him.
That's it. If you love your brother, you will abide in the light. And remember, we need the light to shine and bring us out of darkness to take on the character of Yahuwah through Yahusha, because in Yahuwah there is light and there is no darkness in him. So we too have to be light. The only way to be in light is we must love our brother. And there is none occasion of stumbling in him. We cannot have hatred among us. Wherever we are, wherever you are gathered together, you cannot have hatred among you. He that loveth his brother abideth in the light. That means he that does not love his brother abideth where? In darkness. And we know that if we are in darkness, there is no eternal life in us. So if through love we have the character of Yahuwah the Father, and it is love that is going to help to make us be reconciled unto Yahuwah. All right? So the question, are you reconciled unto Yahuwah? Let this teaching be our judge for each one of us, because it is a good indicator and a good way to point us into the way of righteousness, into the way of perfection. Again, this teaching is not to condemn anyone, but to stir up in each one of us thinking where we are, evaluation of where we are, and adjustments as to where we need to be. All right? All right, so that was what I have for today. All right. Are there any questions on YouTube? All right, let me go there. We won't even see the first one, the first teaching. All right, right. You weren't monitoring it. Hey, Sultry Sounds, you're not feeling well. Hope you have a speedy recovery, all right? All right, so at least this one bears fruit. Lioness Swan says, Shalom, very powerful this message this day. I do give thanks to Yahuwah. This is just what I needed right now in my journey. This is no joke I see. I need to prove myself. All right, all praises to the Most High. It requires a complete denial of self, and that is 100% correct. Complete denial of self. All right, Ona says, well, I can confirm it's really difficult to follow the way in Babylon. You got that right. I was saying this, Lioness Swan, I was saying this week, I feel like reading the scripture on the prodigal son. I was meant to hear this, all praises. All right. Same thing that happened in the days of Noah, so shall it be again. Yeah. And CC says, where is not Babylon? All right, CC, Babylon is the whole world, but the command is not to flee out of Babylon. The command is to flee out of the midst of Babylon. And those are two completely different things. And we have a whole series on fleeing out of the midst of Babylon where we go into detail with all of that. All right. Evans Amolo, in John 11:25-26, no one should be dying now if they believe. Stephen died, but he saw heaven open. Please provide insight. Why is your teaching open to the idea that we should be willing to die? Let me go and look at John 11:25-26. John 11:25-26. Right, all right. John 11:25-26. Let me put it on the screen, please. Where is it? Come on. Yeah. So it says we should not die. Let me see what it says. Yahusha said unto her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this? No, I don't know what you get from it to say we shall not die. But in verse 25, it told you, it says, though he were dead, yet shall he live. That is telling you that even when we die, we shall be resurrected. This is resurrection of the dead. But verse 26, I think, is probably where you're getting that from. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believeth thou this? He is speaking about shall never die, not the physical death, but the eternal death. It does not mean that you will not physically die. And that is impossible because we have had many patriarchs. If this is so, that we should never die, how are we going to have resurrection of the dead when the saints, the dead in Messiah, rise? Yes? So it could not be saying that we will not literally, physically die. All right. Where are we? I want to go in order. Have we been scattered to the four corners of the earth to spread Yah's truth to those lost? Wherever we are to spread his truth. Wherever we are to spread his truth. We were scattered to the four corners of the earth in our punishment, but when we are gathered, he told us to gather ourselves together. All right. Good day. What does MNR? Someone says the reading is out of focus. Or maybe the internet was bad or something. Good day. What does MNR mean? I don't know where that one came from. Someone was how do I keep the Shabbat holy? Do we have a video or something on that? I think we have a video. How do we keep the Shabbat holy? We have a teaching on that. You can go and search for it. It's a whole detailed teaching on it. All right, yeah? Oh. Can someone find it for me, please? How do we keep the Shabbat holy and put it in the chat? So, how do I get rid of my habit? Even when I do fast, the urge comes back. This is where Yahusha HaMashiach comes in. If you go to Romans 7, that is what Romans 7 is speaking about. Let me go there. Romans 7. Romans 7:18. For I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing. For to will is present with me, but how to perform that which is good I find not. For the good that I would do, I do not. But the evil which I would not, that I do. Now if I do that I would not, it is no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me. I find then a law that when I would do good, evil is present with me. For I delight in the law of Allure after the inward man, but I see another law in my members warring against the law of my mind and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin which is in my members. So the law of sin that is what is in you, which is making you weak to your habit. But it says, O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from the body of this death? I thank Allah through Yahusha HaMashiach, our master. So then, with the mind, I myself serve the law of Allah, but with the flesh, the law of sin. What we just looked at was being reconciled unto Allah through Yahusha, in which we suffer. And when we suffer, we will not be subjected to the lust of the flesh, but we'll be able to walk in righteousness. So you have to truly follow Yahusha. Be willing to suffer for righteousness' sake, to give up. Because a lot of the habits that we have, these are habits because of our socialization in Babylon. The Most High says, come out of her, my people. If you remain in her, guess what? The habits are still going to be there. The routine, the temptations are still going to be there. You have to make a move. You have to make a change. You have to be radically go after Yahusha HaMashiach. And then you will be willing to give up all things like Apostle Shaul and to be found in him, not having your own righteousness, which is of the law, but the righteousness which is through Emanah in Yahusha HaMashiach. Okay. All right, so I think there are no more questions. What do you consider lust of the eyes? Oh, I didn't know this was a question. What do you consider lust of the eyes? It is plain to see. You see it, you like it, you want it. That's it. You see it, you like it, you want it. Lust of the eyes are things that you look at that, that gives you desire. And these are things, because there's a difference between wants and needs. You look at something that you need, it's different. But lust of the eyes usually comes through wants, things that you don't really want. And of course, Babylon itself again floods you with lust of the eyes. Floods you with lust of the eyes so that you, whatever you see, you want. And they make sure that you always feel dissatisfied. You always want more. And so you keep piling up stuff after stuff after stuff. That is why when you go into the supermarket, the shelves are so brilliantly colored and everything and set up in a way. Remember in one of these stores here, we call it the aisle of temptation. The aisle of temptation. What they set them up? They have right by the checkout. So you have a long line in the checkout and you have two aisles. You have one aisle and it's narrow. So you look on the left, you look on the right, nothing but temptation, sweets and every little thing. And then you see people passing through and you see them picking up one after the other. You know how much money they make in that aisle of temptation?
Yeah, especially from the women.
Yes. Those are lust of the eyes. You don't want it. That's not what you came to the supermarket to buy. What you came for, children. You bought it already. That's not what you came to the pharmacy to buy. You already picked up what you want. But temptation, hey, that's the lust of the eyes. All right. All right. Shalom. So I think that should be it. Some teaching of introspection for all of us, and this pertains to all of us, of course, all of us. But I especially want to alert those in Babylon, because as the question was asked about this habit and getting over it, we are saying that the staying in the same place, only a fool does the same thing over and over again and expects a different result. Staying in the same place, remaining in who you are, and all of that, that will get you in trouble. All right? Remember, we have to be light. We have to be reconciled back to the Most High. We have to be His sons to get back to the place of Adam, where we will be embraced into His kingdom and attain unto eternal life. All right? So, thank you all for being here. Please like, please like, please like if you like, share if you care. All right? Yeah. All right. So, shalom, everyone. Shalom.